This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
I was born on January the 5th, 1893, in Gorakhpur, in northeastern India, near the Himalaya mountains. There my first 8 years were passed. We were 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. I, Mukunda Lal Ghosh, was the second son and the 4th child. Father and mother were Bengalis, of the Kshatriya caste, the second caste, originally that of rulers and warriors. Both were blessed with saintly nature. Their mutual love, tranquil and dignified, never expressed itself frivolously. A perfect parental harmony was the calm centre of the revolving tumult of 8 young lives. Father, Bhagavati Charan Ghosh, was kind, grave, at times stern. Loving him dearly, we children yet observed a certain reverential distance. An outstanding mathematician and logician, he was guided principally by his intellect. But mother was a queen of hearts, and taught us only through love. After her death, father displayed more of his inner tenderness. I noticed then that his gaze often seemed to be metamorphosed into my mother's gaze. In mother's presence, we children made an early bittersweet acquaintance with the scriptures. Mother would resourcefully summon from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana suitable tales to meet the exigencies of discipline. On these occasions, chastisement and instruction went hand in hand. As a gesture of respect for father, in the afternoons mother would dress us children carefully to welcome him home from the office. He held a position similar to that of a vice-president in one of India's large companies, Bengal Nagpur Railway. His work involved travelling. Our family lived in several cities during my childhood. Mother held an open hand toward the needy. Father was also kindly disposed, but his respect for law and order extended to the budget. One fortnight mother spent in feeding the poor more than father's monthly income. "All I ask, please," father said, "is that you keep your charities within a reasonable limit." Even a gentle rebuke from her husband was grievous to mother. Not hinting to the children at any disagreement, she ordered a hackney carriage. "Goodbye. I'm going away to my mother's home." Ancient ultimatum. We broke into astounded lamentations. Our maternal uncle arrived opportunely. He whispered to father some sage counsel, garnered no doubt from the ages. After father had made a few conciliatory remarks, mother happily dismissed the cab. Thus ended the only trouble I ever noticed between my parents. But I recall a characteristic discussion. "Please give me 10 rupees for a hapless woman who has just arrived at the house." Mother's smile had its own persuasion. "Why 10 rupees? 1 is enough," father added to justification. "When my father and grandparents died suddenly, I had my first experience of poverty. My only breakfast, before walking miles to my school, was a small banana. Later, at the university, I was in such need that I applied to a wealthy judge for aid of 1 rupee per month. He declined, remarking that even a rupee is important." How bitterly you recall the denial of that rupee. Mother's heart had an instant logic. Do you want this woman also to remember painfully your refusal of 10 rupees, which she needs urgently? You win. With the immemorial gesture of vanquished husbands, he opened his wallet. "Here is a 10-rupee note. Give it to her with my goodwill." Father tended first to say no to any new proposal. His attitude towards the stranger who so readily had won mother's sympathy was an example of his customary caution. An aversion to instant acceptance is really only honouring the principle of due reflection. I always found father reasonable and evenly balanced in his judgments. If I could bolster up my numerous requests with one or two good arguments, he would invariably put within my reach the coveted goal, whether a vacation trip or a new motorcycle. Father was a strict disciplinarian to his children in their early years, but his attitude towards himself was truly Spartan. He never visited the theatre, for instance, but sought his recreation in various spiritual practices and in reading the Bhagavad Gita. Shunning all luxuries, he would cling to one old pair of shoes until they were useless. His sons bought automobiles after they came into popular use, but father was content with the trolley car for his daily ride to the office. Father was not interested in the accumulation of money for the sake of power. On one occasion, after he had organized the Calcutta Urban Bank, he refused to benefit himself by holding any of its shares. He had simply wished to perform a civic duty in his spare time. Several years after father had retired on a pension, an accountant from England came to India to examine the books of Bengal Nagpur Railway. The amazed investigator discovered that father had never applied for overdue bonuses. He did the work of 3 men, the accountant told the company. He has rupees 125,000, $41,250, owing to him as back compensation. The treasurer sent father a cheque for that amount. My parent thought so little about the matter that he forgot to mention it to the family. Much later he was questioned by my youngest brother, Vishnu, who had noticed the large deposit on a bank statement. "Why be elated by material profit?" father replied. "The one who pursues a goal of even-mindedness is neither jubilant with gain nor depressed by loss. He knows that man arrives penniless in this world and departs without a single rupee." Early in their married life, my parents became disciples of a great master, Lahiri Mahashai of Benares. This association strengthened father's naturally ascetical temperament. Mother once made a remarkable admission to my eldest sister Roma. "Your father and I sleep together as man and wife only once a year, for the purpose of having children." Father met Lahiri Mahashai through Abhinash Babu, an employee of a branch line of Bengal Nagpur Railway. In Gorakhpur, Abhinash Babu instructed my young ears with engrossing tales of many Indian saints. He invariably concluded with a tribute to the superior glories of his own guru. "Did you ever hear of the extraordinary circumstances under which your father became a disciple of Lahiri Mahashai?" It was on a lazy summer afternoon, as Abhinash and I sat together in the compound of my home, that he put this intriguing question. I shook my head with a smile of anticipation. "Years ago, before you were born, I asked my superior officer, your father, to give me a week's leave from my office duties in order to visit my guru in Benares. Your father ridiculed my plan. 'Are you going to become a religious fanatic?' he inquired. 'Concentrate on your office work if you want to forge ahead.' Sadly walking home along a woodland path that day, I met your father in a palanquin. He dismissed his servants and conveyance, and fell into step beside me. Seeking to console me, he pointed out the advantages of striving for worldly success. But I heard him listlessly. My heart was repeating, 'Lahiri Mahashai, I cannot live without seeing you.' Our path took us to the edge of a tranquil field, where the rays of the late afternoon sun were crowning the tall ripple of the wild grass. We paused in admiration. There in the field, only a few yards from us, the form of my great guru suddenly appeared. 'Bhagavati, you are too hard on your employee.' His voice was resonant in our astounded ears. He vanished as mysteriously as he had come. On my knees I was exclaiming, 'Lahiri Mahashaya! Lahiri Mahashaya!' For a few moments your father was motionless with stupefaction. 'Avinash, not only do I give you leave, but I give myself leave to start for Benares tomorrow.' I must know this great Lahiri Mahashai, who is able to materialize himself at will in order to intercede for you.